Offerings. A very common question we see is, how do I do offerings? So here's a video to answer/link to. First, why? Why do we give offerings? From the Norse perspective, it's about building relationships through gift giving. The arch-heathens had a gift economy, meaning they frequently gave gifts to show appreciation and strengthen relationships. When you give a gift to a god, Vatir, ancestor, or friend, this is why. It's not with the intention of getting something in a transaction. It's unfortunate society tries to see everything in market values. Ironically, that devalues the gift. Worship. The etymology of the word worship means to give worth. When we give an offering, the value of the item should be something you appreciate. Its worth isn't monetary, it's something special to you. It can be artwork, a purchased thing, or just something important to you. Earth's well. One theory, and this makes sense to my worldview, is that we, by giving worth, feed Yggdrasil, the world tree, by feeding Earth's well, Earth being the Norn of the past. Our actions, deeds, and offerings feed the well, which replenishes the tree, and in turn, feeds the spiritual energy of the 9 worlds. It's possibly this process that feeds, through the giving of worth, those we give offerings. How to offer. Simply set the offering aside, meaning we ritually dedicate it to the god, Vatir, ancestor, etc. This usually means ritually killing the object, not unlike the bent swords found in bogs. Bending the sword made it unusable, and bogs were seen as intermediaries between physical and spiritual realms. Having a sacred spot to offer is always good. This doesn't necessarily mean death, however. Like the horse Freyfaxi in Hreyfinkell's saga. Hreyfinkell made an oath to Freyr that the horse was only to be used by Freyr. Of course, an oath is not a light thing, and he ended up murdering a young man, so I don't recommend this, but you can get creative. Burn, bury, ruin, or leave the item on your altar or designated sacred spot. Keep in mind rot and environmental impact. A horger outside is a perfect location to leave offerings.
Bloat and sumbul. Our most common ritual in heathenry is the bloat. Bloat means sacrifice or blood, but doesn't always require the burn, bury, ruin, or leaving of an offering. The passing of the horn and the pouring of the mead is the offering. Sumbul. Sumbul means to assemble, to gather. We gather together for holidays and important events. Then we toast, boast, and oath. Ritual items. The required items are horn, drinking vessel, mead, though milk, apple juice, or a honey drink can substitute, and people. Bloat can be done alone, but to sumbul requires people. And of course, the ritual hammer. A Mjolnir pendant, similar object, or even just your fist can substitute. Optional items for a more formal, proper rite. Palatable, sprig, fire. These items aren't truly necessary. The fire is seen by some to be a necessary beacon to the gods, but in less formal settings, I haven't needed it. Like most things in heathenry, it depends on personal choice and comfort. I've used campfires, fire pits, and, in hot-ass Texas, candles, though the Texas wind was not kind and made it difficult. Whether or not you have a consistent flame, a fire cleansing is a good way to both set the mood and let people know it's beginning. Walking in a circle with the candle or some kind of smudge is good. Just be sure the plant on fire is good for the group. Mugwort is an excellent substitute for sage, but can affect pregnant people negatively. So, be careful. Do your research. After that circle, everyone should circle up. The Godar, or acting Gundar, explains why we're here. Who are we bloating to? Is it a holiday, name day, special occasion? Then, we use the ritual hammer to bless the horn of mead, followed by the calling of the god, Vatir, or ancestors. Typically, it's the theme of the holiday. Vatirnathar might mean ancestors, Yule might be the sun or Odin, and name day might be to the child's ancestors. We raise our arms like the Algiz room and praise them. There's something similar in the beginning of my Gods and Archetypes videos. You don't have to get fancy. Some do pre-write the words. Something like Odin, Lord of the Fallen, Master of Wind and Word, Spearbearer, Wordsmith, Rune Master. We gather to hail you this day. Ended with Hail Odin. Then a sip of mead, and everyone repeats, Hail Odin. Then you pass the horn. Post-COVID, I've been passing the mead bottle, and everyone gets their own horn. The first round is the topic. In my example, the person holding the horn says why they're hailing Odin, and then says, Hail Odin, takes a sip, or kisses the horn if they don't want to drink, and we all repeat. The second round is to the gods, any god you feel compelled to hail. Third round is the ancestors, those that came before us, living or dead. Fourth round is open. Toasts, boasts, and oaths. Hail anyone or anything you like. Boast of recent victories and accomplishments. And, if you choose to oath, be sure you word it properly, as your luck is bound to the circle. The haminya of an oath broken can affect you all. At this point, you can give more tangible offerings, or not. Then, the remaining mead can go in the halak bowl. The mead we all spoke over represents the waters of Earth's well. The horn, the well itself. The Godar may lightly sprinkle the sacred mead on the group with a screw. I then take a plate of food, set aside earlier, for the Veitir, a portion of everything we shared that day. We walk to a sacred spot, usually a tree or bush when a horger hasn't been made. I say something about the land Veitir and how society takes them for granted, how current ideologies believe nature's resources are to be taken rather than cared for. I set a plate down, offering it to the land Veitir. Pour the rest of the mead out upon the earth, and say, it is done. Of course, that's how I do it. Feel free to modify, research, and customize as you see fit. Heathenry is a living religion, always changing and improving. More research comes out, more UPG is discussed. It's your heathenry. Do it your way. One of the most important parts of Sumbul is sharing personal reasons for hailing. It means you're opening up, establishing a fifth bond with your kindred.